guys, welcome to another episode of Making It. I'm Kennan Cooley and
Alvin Chea on the West Coast.
You know why he likes to say that, right? He is just making people jealous. That's all. I keep saying, why do you want to tell everybody you're on the West Coast?
Well, actually, it sounds gorgeous, but it's like 104 today.
Yeah,
and I got on black.
That's payback for having a gorgeous place. Now you're melting.
We're
in a gorgeous place, but now you're melting. That's all.
Melting.
Melting.
Thanks everybody for being here. We got so much to do, so much fun we're going to have today. We've got a special guest. But Kennan, quick catch up with you. How are you doing?
How am I doing? I'm doing great. You know, it's the summer and I'm having an amazing time. I sold my house. I live on a boat. I'm doing what everybody thinks is a dream, and I'm just living my life. I
love it. Wow.
I'm living my life. My kids are all got their own place, and it's just time for another chapter in me. So I'm enjoying
that's great. I'm kind of in that same experience, but I'm not on a boat, but my kids are coming home to the captain. Yes.
The captain of the ship.
The captain of the sea. Yeah, so I'm excited about it. It's going to be great. But, you know, it's really cool to interact with them. You see the beginning of life. You see what they're just graduated and all this potential. And what we get to do on Making It is talk about people with these accomplished careers. You know, so you see the opposite end of it. So this is going to be really cool to tell you as we have our special guest that you're about to bring out to be able to talk about that. So we're living in the yin and the yang.
Yeah, but you know, to speak to your point, it is really exciting to watch your kids grow and to see them go to their own space of making it, because we have now come into another season of our lives, but they're just starting that season. And just, you know, I remember being young, it was last week, but anyway, I remember being young and just enjoying the possibilities. And now I've realized a lot, and I still have a lot more possibilities, but watching them get their own places. Both of my sons now have their own apartment. And just seeing them have their own girlfriends and starting a new life, it's just exciting. It really is.
Good job, Mama. Good job.
Good job to you, Daddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, your kids are doing great too. Isn't one of your sons working on doing some entertainment stuff too?
Yeah, my oldest, Channing, is a writer. He's written 3 novels by now.
Wow.
And at first, he wrote his trilogy. He's got a whole second trilogy in mind. He's pretty prolific. My next daughter is, she is a writer as well. She's been writing for these fashion blogs and culture blogs. And then my middle son is about to graduate from CSUN. And my youngest guy, 9 years old, he's doing sessions all the time.
That's right. I've seen it. Was he on Jimmy Fallon? No, Jimmy
he was on Jimmy Fallon. He was on Jimmy Kimmel. He was on James Coburn.
He was on both Kimmel and Fallon?
Yeah, Kimmel. Well, he was on Kimmel twice, Coburn. He's done about 3 or 4 different movies, and he's done about 5 or 6 record dates. So he's quite busy. He's got the account.
Well, then he needs to be our next guest.
He does.
Your 9-year-old needs to be our next guest.
He's making it.
I think he's doing better than me, so I'm looking at him.
He's making it, exactly.
He's making it, right.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess how do you feel about him being in the entertainment industry? Like, really just...
I like it. You know, all he sees is the work right now. He hasn't been able to enjoy any of his labors. But I'm telling you, like the other day, he did a 2-hour session and like $2,200. I'm like, son, you don't know how blessed you are. Work hard. One day you'll be able to walk into college and pay for it cash. You'll be able to drive up in a car that you bought. And you'll be able to probably put down a down payment on a house that you're going to live in. Work hard. It's going to...
Yeah. But it's nice to do that, to get them in that mind space, because then they'll not see it as odd to move to the next level in their lives. Well,
exactly.
Our guest today, has done pretty much that same thing. Okay. So I met him about, let's just say 15 years ago. And he started doing photography. He is a celebrity photographer. He started doing photography when he was, I guess, maybe in high school. And I saw a post where he said he started charging $1. That's how he started. And he did it in film. So there wasn't digital, and he did it in film. And now I'll let him tell his whole story, but he's doing celebrity work now. And you just to see yourself evolve, you don't even know where you're going to end up. But without further ado, His name is Derrel Todd, and he is our guest for today.
All right. I love it.
We're appreciating the opportunity to talk to you, Derrel. I gave a great introduction about what you've done over the years, but I want you to tell your story because to me it's awesome. It's amazing.
Welcome.
I appreciate that. I don't know how long we have, so I probably gotta keep my story short. Let's see. I mean, where am I starting? Am I starting from when I started, or
yes? Start telling us how you started. I told him I saw a post the other day where you started selling pictures for $1 or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Basically, I started when I was 18, and I bought a camera in March '88. Took pictures of friends for a number of months, but I actually didn't start charging $1 a picture until August 1988. So next week, I think on Monday, makes my 32nd anniversary.
Oh, wow.
You have your dollar framed? Did you frame your first dollar?
No, I spent that.
Gone. That dollar gone, son.
Gone.
I had no plans on doing this long. I was really just trying to make some money. Really I was trying to meet some girls. I really wasn't even trying to make money.
That makes sense. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I was just trying to meet some girls, in college, 'cause I started in college. So, but because I moved out, because my parents asked me to get a new address, my dad decided we needed different zip codes. So eventually I needed money towards my rent, which I really missed at that time because I was only paying $480 with all utilities included for a 1-bedroom.
Wow.
That was a good
in
day.
DC?
I was in Landover. I wanted to stay in DC, but even though at that time DC was the murder capital, I still couldn't afford to live here. But I grew up. I was born and raised in DC, and I really wanted to stay. So I moved. I already lived on the Orange Line in Deanwood. So when I went looking for apartments, I stayed on the Orange Line. So I went to Cheverly, which is the next station from Deanwood. I couldn't afford to live there. And then I went to Landover, and I could afford to live there. So I got an apartment as close as I could to the metro because I didn't have a car. And that dollar picture helped pay that rent. And so
what was your first camera?
Minolta X700.
Was it a gift, or you knew that's what you wanted?
No. I funny stuff. I mean, my dad used to go to this liquor store right near Mass Avenue, right near 3rd and Mass, and so I knew that there was a pawn shop near where he used to take us when he would go get his drink or whatever. And so I knew where I wanted to go look. I knew I couldn't afford a new camera, so I figured I'd look in a pawn shop. And so there was one there that I saw, and my mother loaned me the money. And of course, I didn't learn until much later on it was money she didn't have. She loaned me $125 to get the camera. So I went down to her
Back
job.
then, that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, it was, and for us it was even more. Back then, I think the rent that my parents paid was about $600 and some a month.
Oh wow!
So when you think about that in terms of percentages of $125, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like 20%. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right.
And so so she loaned it to me, or I guess she gave it to me. I can't remember if I gave it back or not. I mean, anyway. Right. So she loaned it to me. She gave it to me, and I left her job, which was at Internal Revenue right downtown, and walked from 1111 Constitution over to 3rd and Mass and bought the camera.
Man, that's
and that's a film camera, right?
Correct. I started with film. Started with film, and then I took classes at UDC in undergrad. So that by the time I started charging, I hadn't taken any classes, but I needed to satisfy my art elective. So I figured I'd enroll in a photography class. I figured easy A. It was not. Nah, I was on the dean's list. My grade was bringing down my GPA. I started cutting class because I figured I knew everything.
Wait, the photography class was bringing down your GPA?
Yeah, I figured I knew everything, and I didn't. And I thought the lectures honestly, I thought the lectures were boring, and I was already making money.
Right.
So I figured,
what can you tell me?
Yeah, I figured I was like, why am I here? Until one day, basically, my photography professor saw me on campus. He saw me with a young lady. He asked, could he see my camera? Long story short, he took a couple of pictures of her, just 2, and then told her, I don't know why you give him any money. And handed me the camera and walked away. And so I was embarrassed. I went back to shooting. I think she wanted 5 pictures or something. It was like $5. So I went back to that, but honestly, I couldn't wait to see what he had done.
Right.
Because he started turning knobs with my camera, and also, which was allowed then, I guess, and somewhat now, I don't know, but he started touching her face, and he started positioning her and posing her
Oh, okay.
how he wanted her to look. And actually, I was interested in her, and I've been wanting to touch her for a long time.
How's he gonna just come up like that? That's funny.
Yeah, he just walked right up to her and just started touching her and posing her, and then he said what he said. He walked off. So
Wow.
I ran across the street, got the role developed because I was just curious as to what he did. And then when I saw what he did with 2 pictures and what he did with her, I said, well, maybe it's time for me to go back to class.
Wow.
Okay, so leap ahead for me. You're coming up. You're learning the book knowledge of it, the practicum, all of that stuff. When did the confidence kick in for you to say, "All right, Denzel, stand right there and back up. Now turn your head to the right"? Because that, to me, that learning curve is like, whoa.
Honestly, I don't know. I still get nervous. So I don't know if I don't want to lie. This is I guess is a truthful show. So
we prefer the truth, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still get nervous. I mean, I still get super nervous. I think I'm confident. Honestly, I think I'm confident in asking, and then when it's time to perform, then I get nervous. But I think it's a good nervous energy.
Mm-hmm.
I recently had the opportunity to shoot Janelle Monae at the Oscars.
Sure.
And I was nervous the whole time. But for me, I guess that energy sort of keeps me alert, and I don't want to miss anything. So then, like, everything just becomes heightened, almost like a spider sense or whatever, like Spider-Man.
Wow.
Everything just turns on, and then I see everything, and then poses start coming to mind, and then lighting scenarios and the whole bit. So,
well, you skipped a whole story. So I've known Derrel for about, let's say, 15 years, and the one thing that when I met him, real humble, and we started working together. I did video and he did photography. He hired me, but then at some point he decided he wanted to start traveling overseas for free and start shooting celebrities. And I'm like, what? You're going to go all the way across the sea and voluntarily shoot celebrities? I thought he was crazy.
Wow.
Fast forward, this is the same man who now has shot for Prince and is shooting for Janelle Monae.
I love it.
Maybe he wasn't quite so crazy after all.
Wow.
No, probably definitely. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it.
Crazy after all.
It's crazy when you think about it. I guess, like, my dad has always liked music. He always liked music. So, like many other parents stuff during that day, they bought a lot of albums. Albums that as kids we couldn't touch. Right? Don't touch my component set. Keep your hands off my records, especially when hip hop came. I'm trying to scratch on his stuff.
That's record, boy.
Yeah, I done broke 2 or 3 needles. So he's upset about it. But I've always enjoyed album art. Like always, well before, because I can draw, so I like that old piece of it, but well before I got into photography, just those Ohio Player album covers and those OJs, the Ship Ahoy, and the Pick of the Litter. I don't know if you remember that, but it was a silver cover, and inside it had like cut out paper dolls. I don't know if you remember that, like of the spinners. And so I always loved the art that went into that. So I always looked at the credits on the back because they talked about who played this and who did that.
Right.
And I also took some music education in high school, and so it talked about how people are credited and who did the most work and how they're listed in order and that sort of thing, to, in accordance to their contribution. So I've always wanted to kind of do that work. And so when Go-Go got popular, those were some of the first artists that I started with. So I shot for Hot Cold Sweat, I shot for Pleasure, All Girl Band and Show, and I had the opportunity to do some tape jackets and stuff for them, but because they weren't that popular, their work never really went that much further past the DMV area. Yeah, maybe some people have heard about it in other states, and maybe they did a little bit of tour with Salt and Pepper, and maybe some other countries got to experience it, but they never took off outside of this area.
Right.
And so I've often wondered what is it that other photographers have that allowed them to get those kind of opportunities, and I wanted the same kind of opportunities. And at one point, I was shooting a lot of celebrities that came to DC, and I got the opportunity to do that via Stan Richards, who hosted all of the Positive Black Men Coalition parties and galas, which happened at New Year's and Thanksgiving Eve. And so I enjoyed that. But honestly, there was a situation one time where I think I shot for was either Keith Washington or Howard Hewitt.
Mm-hmm.
They'd come to one of his parties. And I gave Stan the images. That's who was paying me. And I said, man, I wonder what he thinks of the pictures. And Stan said, well, he didn't pay for them, so he's never going to see them.
Oh, wow.
And that kind of bugged me because I mean, this before Instagram.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Before Facebook. So how was he going to see them? How were the artists going to see all of this stuff that I've been capturing?
Right.
And that kind of bugged me. So I said, you know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to start reaching out to these artists and see who picks up the phone.
Right.
And even though I love music, I don't love all artists. I was raised on my dad's
Same
music.
way.
Yeah, I was raised on my dad's music. So, and I'm 50. So, I mean, I like 70s, 80s era. I like ballads. I like stories. And I like good music. And that's not to put down on today's stuff, but I don't hear a lot of stories. And so one of my favorite artists was Tony. I used to like the story about Little Walter and that first song I think they released.
Right.
With it had Sinbad and that whole piece. So when Raphael got out on his own, I still enjoyed his
Raphael
work.
Saadiq, that is, right?
Correct. I'm sorry. Yeah, Raphael Saadiq. Sorry, Adam. I apologize for using first names. It's not like we hang out. I don't want people to get the misconception.
You dropped something.
Me and Raphael, we were hanging out last week.
Yeah. So I still like their music, and so when Raphael went out on his own, I kept listening, and he had this cool sort of the whole neo soul vibe. But there was this one particular album. I think it's The Way I See It. I think it's the name of the album, The Way I See It, where he basically, I guess, sort of reinvigorated the sound of the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I mean, not only did he write songs, I guess, that sort of fit with that era.
Yeah.
Most of the songs on the album, I think, are like 2 minutes and 30 some seconds long. So they're the same length as the old song, right? It's the same length as the old songs. And I think it was recorded with tape. So the songs have this really warm feel. It's not digital. I mean, he went all
like Motown lost tapes.
Exactly. He went all the way with it. He changed his entire look. He cut his hair the same way that early Temptations cut their hair. He had clothing done that way, and it could seem like just a costume, but I'll tell you, there was a time when he was working on it. He came to DC. He was doing, I guess, a promotional tour for the album, and when he left DC, I think his next stop was either Philly or New York, and he was heading up, and I was like, yo, I want to give you the images from last night. And this is after, of course, I connected with him, but he said, okay, I'm going to be catching the train up. You can catch me at Union Station. And I'm thinking,
I'm giving you the images.
Not just that, but you getting on a train, you're a celebrity, and you're getting on the train at Union Station. Like, do you know how people are going to mob you?
Right.
You know, if they see you there?
Right.
But not only was the album a period album, but he also changed his clothing, his traveling clothes, to coincide with how artists probably traveled during that time.
Oh, he was all in.
He had on these old boots, this old looking overcoat, a scarf around his head, a hat on top of that, a page boy cap on top of that, and a suitcase that I know he had to got from the thrift store. with the fold over silver latches.
With the straps, all that
stuff. That's how he got on the Metro?
I have pictures. That is how he got on the train at Union Station.
Wow.
So he literally had nobody that could pick him out. I mean, on green tape, on the side of the suitcase, it said Saadiq, and nobody still probably knew. on green tape.
Big because first of all, you're not going to think Saadiq's on the train. If you saw somebody with a Saadiq thing, you think, okay, he's a fan. You're not going to think, you kind of look like Saadiq, but you're not going to think Saadiq's actually on the train.
So what you're implying, though, is that you have a hunger. You see the bigger vision. So as I remember being an artist at Warner Brothers, after the photographer was the artistic director. Right. Is that something that you had your eyes on or have your eyes on?
Well, now, I'd like to move more in that direction to direct as well as shoot. However, again, DC still isn't that area.
Yeah.
that go-to area for photographers. And so for many of your really, really big jobs, the magazines still have their own art director. So it's the art director or the creative director that's making those hiring decisions. So you're still really brought in just to shoot. But some of that is changing. Some of that is changing with a lot of the first black photographers for Vogue, first black photographer for Rolling Stone. You got Dana Scruggs over here. You got Tyler Mitchell over here. You got another brother who just shot Viola for Vanity Fair. I think his name is Dario. So a lot that's changing. They're giving a lot of photographers a lot more leeway. I think Dana reimagined Janelle Monae in the role of Venus for this shoot that she just did for the cover of Shape magazine. Dario reinterpreted the image of the slave, which is the guy whose back had been whipped.
Yeah,
that's the
I think I
image
remember seeing that issue.
Yeah, that's the image that he reimagined for Viola Davis when her back is out. So so I definitely love to move in that area, but yeah,
I don't want to miss the part that you're overlooking a little bit. You're talking as if this is something that everybody has the opportunity to do. I admire that you, first of all, had your mind open to the possibilities. Because like I said, remember when I said you're going to go travel over there for free? But you had your mind open to the possibility that it could happen. I mean, now you shot for Saadiq, Prince, Monet, whoever else. I mean, but the whole point is you had your mind open, and the show is about making it. And I think sometimes, you know, well, I mean, sometimes I want to just not forget the point that people don't just accidentally make it. You make a decision. You make a decision that you want more for your life. Like you said, sort of somewhere in your description of what you were doing when you were coming up, I wanted to do more. I saw people doing this and I wanted to do more. You know, and kind of, I want you to kind of explain, even because Saadiq was one of your first, right? He was one of your first ones that you shot, celebrities?
He was one of the first to hire me directly, yes.
Okay. Right, but can you talk about your mindset a little bit, about how you really believe that the possibility existed? I mean, some people I thought you were shooting for the stars.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I tell you what, honestly, some people do get picked, right? Some people, it just happens for some people. You know, it does. But the rest of us got to work, right? The rest of us have to make it happen for ourselves. Now, granted, somebody has to help us. Somebody has to believe in you, but it first does start with you.
Right.
And so, and I can't remember how old I was at the time, but I mean, basically I grew up poor. And so, like I said, in the city of DC. And so I didn't get a lot of breaks, or at least it didn't feel like it at the time. And maybe because I'm here, maybe I did get a lot of them, you know, just along the way. It put me just a little bit further, put me just a little bit further, put me just a little bit further. But when it came to reaching out to Raphael, I pretty much just had the attitude, all they can say is no.
Right.
Exactly.
All they can say is no. And it was something that I wanted. And I've always just kind of had the belief that even though I live here, and this is not a music city, it's not a big media town, it's not a big celebrity town, that you can be from here and still live here and make it. Now, now granted, it's gonna be much harder, right? Wale had to leave, Marvin Gaye had to leave. What's the guy that my dad likes? Can't remember his name. I Do Love You. He called him Fat Boy. I can't remember his name right now, but he left in the 50s. Like, a lot of people have had to leave. Taraji had to leave. Like, I get it. But there are a lot of people who call this area home, who lay their heads right here and who act or who sing, right?
Right.
Or, you know, like Biz Markie moved here, and I hope he's doing well, because he's been recently hospitalized. He moved here right at the height of his fame. One of De La Soul lives here. Right, we have 3 airports right here, right? We got Dulles, National, and BWI. We can go anywhere we need to go and still be hot. So I figured I'm gonna reach out to Raphael and see what's happening. He was coming to the 930 Club, and I wanted to shoot the show. I figured I'm gonna ask. So I just wrote to the people on the back of the CD.
Nice.
And Sony didn't respond. That's cool, right? So then there was also a number, so I called. And I was able to get in touch with somebody. I can't remember who, and they were like, "No, we don't really need that. We're fine." But at the time, the 930 Club had a sign right out front that said, "No professional cameras allowed inside." Well, the funny thing about photography, at least in my opinion, is that if you have somebody that's skilled with a camera, it doesn't matter.
Every camera is professional.
That's right. It doesn't matter. You put an iPhone in my hand, and I'm gonna show you some stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so that was the wrong sign for me.
I love it.
That's like you were just giving me the green light. So I went in, I shot the show, I created an album, photo album, because I figured everybody who shoots is putting it on the CD or putting it.
Wait a minute, you shot the show. What do you mean, you were on stage somehow, or you just were?
No, I shot it from the crowd.
Okay.
There's a nuance to it, but yeah. So basically, if you want to do this, this is how you do it. So you would get whatever camera is legally allowed, and you have to get there early, really, really early, when there's general seating or there's no seating, so that you get up front. You don't want to be too close up front, because if somebody sees you standing still, this is real stuff, right? Somebody sees you standing still too long when the music is pumping, then you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
Right.
So you got to shoot and then party, and then shoot and then party, right? Because you're being watched, right? You either illegally taping the show, or you know what I mean? You're an assassin, you're something, right? We don't know, right? So I did that.
Everybody's got eyes open.
Yeah, somebody's watching, right? We always think that when the place is full, the artist can't see you, but the artists they do this every night, and the people that work for them do it every night. They can see everybody there, and they're watching, right? Because the show is very routine for them, so to some extent, there's going to be a level of boredom, and so that allows them to see, oh, they were kissing over there. Did you see the couple? Because after the show, they be laughing, make jokes about what they saw.
Absolutely.
All the time. So I put the stuff in a book. I created 2 books. And I mailed them to Sony and said, and in the back of the book.
So wait a minute, you took enough pictures to make 2 books that one night?
Well, you always make 2 because one is going to get stolen.
Oh, right.
This is experience talking right here.
You make 2 books because one is going to get stolen. So
by whom? By my ass. Who's going to steal it?
Whoever opens the mail.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Wow.
It never came. I never saw anything, right? That's what they do, right? So, so I made the books, and on the back of the book, I said, this is what I did with a point and shoot. I actually gave the model. So I said, I'm not illegal. You know, I said, and I put not for sale. I said, this is what I did with this camera. I said, but imagine what I could do if you sanction me and I took my regular cameras.
I love
it. So they were like, yeah, we're not interested. So I'm like, well, damn. But luckily for me, some nosy secretary, who I guess is responsible for opening the mail, you know, and passing it along, saw what I did, and then she called me after I was rejected, and she said, well, his manager is in here all the time. Would you like for me to give him a book? I said, yeah, I tell you what, you give him a book and I'll send you a book. That's why you make 2.
There you go.
That's why you make 2. So I I give her a name because I don't want her to get in trouble. She's not at Sony anymore, but I'll never forget her because like I'm here.
Open the door.
I'm here because of her. Yeah. Her first name actually is Janelle, by the way, but with an O. But yeah, it's crazy, right? So anyway, like the next day, his manager comes. I guess she gives him the number, and he calls me. He's like, man, these are pictures you did. Like this book is amazing. I think he was more enthused about the book than what was in it. Right. I tried to make the books and stuff nice, and he loved it. And I said, yeah, man, I would love to work for him. And he said, well, we don't have a need for anybody right now, but we'll keep you in mind. I said, well, that's funny because I looked online because now things are online. I said, well, online it says he's going to be in Paris next month. He said, we don't have a budget for that. I said, well, I'm not asking for any money. I said, I tell you what, if you give me clearance to shoot him at the club at La Bataclan on I think it was like April 4th. No, yeah, it was April 14th and 15th. It was right at tax time. It's April 14th and 15th. I said, you like the images, then we'll talk. He was like, yeah. He said, yeah, no. He said, nobody's gonna do that. I said, trust me. All I want you to do is put my name at the door and put Damon Fleming. I wanted somebody to go with me. So I got my he wasn't a partner at the time. He was actually one of my #1 students. I said, I want you to put our names at the door, and we got it covered. He said, I tell you what, then bet. I said, Sony it won't cost Sony a dime, won't cost Raphael a dime. If you like it, then we talk. So he said, I'm gonna do it. So I said, all right. I got his information. I got the confirmation, I think, from Yahoo Travel, who I used at the time. I said, yeah, we're going to be there. So then that way he would know I had tickets, right? And I had a hotel, so he could definitely put my name down. So he did. And
what was the club?
It was a Labata, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Labataclan.
Labataclan, okay.
Yeah. It's actually it was really, really popular with a lot of Black artists.
Okay.
Historically, over the years, everybody's performed there. Unfortunately, though, I think it was 2017 or 2016. That was the location of the bombing.
Oh,
really?
Man, right.
And when that? Oh, wow, really?
It's the same.
So it was destroyed?
Huh?
It was destroyed?
No. That's where that's where those guys came in. They were from was it Belgium?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the guys came from Belgium, and I think they shot up people in there, and I think they had an explosion there too. But I think they killed a bunch of people when another, I think a white U.S. band or something was on stage.
Right.
Okay.
It's the exact same club.
Man.
Wow.
Which, like, again, there but for the grace of God, right?
Yeah.
I was like right there.
Sure.
Right. So
So is it a big club? I mean, is it like about 200 seater or?
no, it's just like the 930 club, but just over there.
Okay.
It's about the size. It's about the size of the 930 club. So I guess what is that, like 2,000 people or something or so?
Okay.
If you include the balcony or whatever. So it's an intimate spot, but it's a really, really cool situation. So we went there, and his manager at the time was like, "Wow, like you guys really like you showed up, and you did it." And it was actually a crazy thing because really they only approved me for the first 3 songs. I had to stop shooting, even though I got sanctions on my way over.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I can only do typically in music you can only do the first 3 songs unless you work
Right.
for an artist.
But you flew all the way across the pond.
Right, and I didn't know. I
know. Right.
I thought I was approved for the whole thing, and
wow.
So what happened was they had a Black young guy who was like the bouncer, right? So after the first 3, he told me I had to stop, and so he didn't make me leave. He let me stay, but he's like, "Yeah, you have to stand over here, like basically behind him and away from the stage." Right. So he kept trying to watch me to make sure I was staying where I was staying. So when I saw that he was watching me, I went on my phone and pulled up pictures of Obama that I shot when he was inaugurated, like when you and I were there. Because I can't speak French. Right. So I'm showing him these pictures, and he's like, "You know Obama?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
Alvin,
that's a side story, Alvin. That's Derrel and I got a chance to do both inaugurals together. Yeah, we got to shoot both inaugurals. Well, he was the shooter, I was his assistant, but we both got to work both inaugurals.
And so it worked out in this situation. So the guy was like, he was really amazed by that. And then he looked and he's like, "Go ahead." He said, "Go ahead." So then I went,
people.
Right? So I went right back he let me go right back to shooting. Now, oddly enough, it was funny because Damon was on, I think, stage left, and he was shooting near some news photographers and got put out after the first 3 songs.
Oh, got put out of the whole club?
Yeah, because typically you don't have tickets, which is, typically you don't have tickets. So you're just shooting and then you leave. But one of my
They put you out? They don't let you stay?
No, you have to leave.
Wow.
Which is why I always buy a ticket.
Oh, okay.
Even now, when I'm approved to do a show, I have a ticket in my pocket.
Really?
Yeah.
So that way, I don't have to.
But here's the point I still want to make. I keep, the story is amazing, but the part that I keep garnering from it, you did not give up. I mean, through this whole story, like, oh, you want to do this? Okay, let me show you this. No matter what, you just said, I'm going to keep going. I want what I want, and we're going to make this happen.
Yeah, because I don't know anybody. Like, I think if I knew somebody in the industry, like anybody, then I could probably just rest on my laurels and say, like, I'm cool with that. I mean, even with that trip, I didn't stop. I came home from Paris, right? I came home. I created another book. Actually, it's right over here. So I created this huge book. They were $900, custom book. I made 2.
They were $900 each?
Yeah. Hold on, let me grab my. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're made of solid aluminum.
Oh, you didn't play. You went for the full.
Yeah. So.
Oh my.
Metal cover, leather orange edge.
I would have hired you the minute I saw that. Look at that.
Whoa. That's
beautiful.
Yeah, this is all in Paris.
Wow.
Oh, man, kill it.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah, this is
Oh,
Man.
wow.
And those
So
are all
that's-
metal pages?
no, the pages are thick. They are like some sort of substrate. They have like
Okay.
a thick cardboard or something between them, but they're all like super lacquered. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But this is, I mean, the book is over 2 inches thick.
That's crazy.
So I made 2 of these.
Me too.
Then I bought a ticket to LA, dressed up, and flew to LA unannounced to hand deliver.
Yeah,
You are not playing.
Brother. You got to go. That's all gangster stuff.
Because his manager, he gave me a card. Like, and I tell people all the time about that episode on Martin, where I don't know if you remember where Martin had Tommy Davidson on there. I forget his character's name. I don't know why I'm trying to think on it now. But
Tommy Davidson's character?
Yeah, Tommy, because Martin had him on. No.
Oh, Tommy Davidson's character. Okay,
Tommy Davidson's character.
No,
So
I don't remember.
he was supposed to be like a big shot from Detroit who made it big. And he said, man, if you ever in LA, look me up.
Right.
And then Martin just drove out to LA to like be
That's right, I remember that.
The Varnell Hill show. That's what it was.
Okay.
The Varnell Hill show.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
So Martin went to his dressing room and he's like, what are you doing out here? He said, man, you told me to come. He said, man, we all say that. We don't mean it.
That's true.
Yeah, so that was me. So I up and went out there.
Yeah, but that hustle, that mindset is amazing to me. I mean, because I consider myself pretty determined about, and I think we all have. We can all speak to different stories when we said, I mean, I know, Alvin, your favorite saying is, what is it? Jump and the net will appear.
Leap and the net will appear.
A leap and the net will appear. Yeah, and I think that's really how you have to be. You have to want it more than in the next person next to you. And you have to say, and then to me, I've learned, no is only no in stages. Like, I wait for that no that says no and don't ever call me again kind of no. But the other ones are kind of like, no. So like, you say no, and it's kind of like, but it's like, okay, you haven't said completely no yet. I still feel a little yes up in you.
Right, well,
I think you have to be that way.
And I'd be lying if I say I'm like that in every area. I'm not. But I don't know. There's so many people that we look up to, right? In life, all walks of life. You got King, you got X, right? You got Dr. Height, Maya Angelou, you got all these people, right? But they were born to 2 people just like us.
Right.
That's right. Exactly.
They're regular people who did something amazing with their lives.
Right. And
they
famous faces
right, and they didn't.
I'm
live this anonymous life.
I'm co-hosting with a man who has 10 Grammys. Yeah,
I see him sitting back there, right? So it's like
one of my favorite quotes. I was at it was some event where oh Lord, okay, Minister Smooth Hair.
Minister with smooth hair.
Our black brother Jesse Jackson and
Erica? No,
Sharpton.
Sharpton was running for president.
Okay.
And he gets up in the Secret Services with him and all of that, and he gets up in the front, and first thing out of his mouth is he says, the hardest job for the black preacher today is to give a eulogy for an irrelevant Negro. And the whole place just went,
Okay.
But his point was, do something.
Yeah.
Don't live this plain vanilla, don't want to rattle any feathers kind of life. And then when you up and die, now we got to invent this life and this amazing and create this fictional thing that you were scared to live. You have to mourn you.
That's a good point.
Stuck with me.
Yeah,
I like that.
See, I guess that's kind of my thing. I mean, it's nothing wrong if that's all you want to do, but don't start belly aching.
Right.
When you have the chance to change your life. I mean, my jump shot sucks. You know what I mean?
Right.
My jump shot sucks. I got no left hand. I can't go left. You know what I mean? And my rap career never took off. So
there was a hint of one.
There was a little bit of one, and and I never sold a crack thing. That real talk. That was my brother. So when Biggie say either you sling crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot, I'm like neither. So what was I? You know what I mean, what
What?
was I? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't. When my dad died, we had it at the chapel at the funeral home, and basically nobody beyond that room cared.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I was literally sitting right there, right up the street, and you could hear traffic. Right?
Wow.
You could hear. I could hear traffic going up and down 12th Street.
Yeah.
And it said to me two things. One, it said life goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't want to live the kind of life where only people in one room care.
Yeah.
I just don't want that for myself. Now,
Right.
granted, the world ain't gonna stop for me.
Right.
I want that sucker to slow down a little bit for a lot of people.
Give a little pause.
For a lot of people. I don't want my son to be sitting in a room where nobody even knew his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But you know what's more important than that, though? It just as important that is also they have something to say about you. Like Alvin just said, there's a eulogy that is writing itself because you wrote it when you were living. You wrote it when you were alive. Your life is your eulogy.
Right, but I also want to have a positive. Yeah, but I also want to have a positive one. And I'm again being straight up. I don't know who's going to see this. I'm gonna be honest. You can give a eulogy. It ain't got to be positive. I had an uncle who passed recently. He had about 17 kids. You know what I mean?
Oh, so there's that eulogy. Okay.
That's good.
But going forward, so you did.
I don't want to have that one.
You did Raphael Saadiq, and you've done Prince. Talk about the Prince experience a little bit because that to me was kind of crazy. Because first of all, you just don't walk up on Prince and say, I don't even know if what you did with Saadiq, in my mind, would work with the Prince, but somehow you got into the Prince camp. So what happened there?
Honestly, I've been doing the same thing since Raphael. I've been trying. I keep trying it.
That's your stick. That's how you get it.
Yeah.
I keep trying it.
How long did it take you to get to Prince?
Let me see. I shot for Raphael in 2009, and I shot for Prince in 2014. So really,
but you were trying from that point forward.
5 years.
Just basically whoever I wanted to. Basically, I want to work for whoever's music I like.
I love
it. My approach is
okay. No, come on, Derrel. Wait, come on.
I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. So basically,
okay, because you just don't say, "Hey, I wanted to shoot for Prince," and then where we are.
No, I'm telling you how it works. So I tell you how I ended up working for Raphael.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to work for Janelle. Janelle's who got me the job for Prince.
Right.
Oh, okay. So you got Janelle first and then Prince.
Correct. So Janelle came to DC. Same thing. Janelle was at the Lincoln Theater, which is actually around the corner from the 930 Club.
Right.
Okay.
I bought a ticket. I went early. Right. I got up front. I took a bunch of pictures. I made a book. The very next month, I flew to Miami and delivered the book.
Love it.
To her next show.
Mm-hmm.
They probably said this fool's crazy, but then I began to leverage Instagram because Instagram just became popular, and so in addition to the book, I kept posting pictures and said, "I want to work for you. I want to work for you. I want to work for you. I want to work for you."
There you
and
go.
And then her fans were like, "Let him work for you. Let him work for you." So there was never a response, but she began reposting the pictures.
Oh wow! Wait, hold on. She was posting them without responding?
Yeah, they just reposting. I mean, they tag you, but
they tag you. Okay.
I didn't want that. So, again, this is an honest show. So I'll be honest. So basically, there's a brother who no longer works with her, who loves God.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised in the church, and I knew if there was somebody I needed to connect with to get with her, it was gonna be him.
Right.
And he had this thing where every time they arrived in a city, he would say, "Praise God for another safe journey."
Right.
So I bought a ticket to Miami, took my book, sat out in front of the venue, and waited until they showed up. And clearly, I didn't have a lot of experience shooting artists at the time, so I had no idea they don't come in the front door.
No.
Small clue.
Right. They don't come in the front door. Raphael came in the front door of the 930 Club, which is interesting, right?
Really?
Yeah, but I guess most of them don't. I don't know. So anyway, they got there. He basically said, Praise God, we just arrived. Then I jumped on Instagram. Hey, I'm here. I got a gift for you. Da 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 da. 2 books, right? Because one will get stolen. So I said, I want you to give this to Janelle. And then basically he went inside. He said, I'll be right back. He said, are you shooting the show tonight? I said, no, I'm just in town, you know.
Just happened to be here. Yeah.
He said, would you like to work tonight? I'm like, I think I can do that. You know.
Then he just grabbed the 2 bags that I packed and was ready to shoot for.
Right. So this is November. No, it was October. Then the show in Miami was in November, and then so then basically I began, you know, shooting everywhere where she appeared.
So you shot that night, that whole show? Yeah,
I shot that show that night. She began reposting it. She crowd surfed like she was swimming, so I was able to get this amazing shot there. She was in Curacao, bought me a ticket to Curacao. She was in Paris, bought me a ticket to Paris. Like wherever she was in LA, I went to LA. Like I just kept showing up. I'm that guy.
That's work ethic.
I'm that guy. So I just kept showing up. And so I guess she's like, you know what? Let's give him a shot.
Yeah.
And again, I'll never forget it. So basically she said, well, I'm going to be having a show and her manager reached out to me and said she's going to be having a show in Connecticut in December and would like for you to photograph the show.
Awesome.
I said, yes. I mean, I probably shot 10 shows.
Yes.
Hers.
For free.
By that time on me, 10 shows at least. But
that's
but I mean, like you gotta invest. I guess I look at you gotta invest in yourself.
You do.
And I'm sorry, I can't. You know, no offense to these, I can't put money in 5 links. I ain't putting no money in New Vetica. What's the new thing? I got no money for nobody. Susu. I put money in Derrel Todd. That's like
yes.
You know, I watched Raphael do a Grammy interview.
Do your own pyramid scheme.
That's right. Exactly. Right. I watched him do his interview one time where he said, I am my best gamble. He said, I gamble on me.
That's right. Who else will? You don't.
He said, I know. He said, I know what I'm gonna do.
Right.
And I can't guarantee what someone else is gonna do. So I did that. Right. And then after I said okay to that particular show, they said, well, it's not her show. She's gonna be opening for Prince.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then when I get there, they're like, yeah, no Prince. You can't shoot Prince. You're just shooting Janelle. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, no problem. And then her manager's like, yo, like, get some of Prince. Right? So I'm like, I don't know what to do. And it's funny because that show was on December 29th, which is my birthday. So it's really crazy. So I guess I caught a train up to Connecticut to do that. And then, like I said, I had to sit down when Prince was performing. So I said, no problem. So I shot Janelle because she opened. Tried to do, you know, best I could there. And then they had a seat for me. I didn't have to buy a ticket. They had a seat for me since this time I was requested by them. So the seat was, I don't know, probably pretty good ways back from the stage. But I didn't realize that when they get a seat, it's like a block of seats.
Right.
And so I was really
next to you.
Yes, I was sitting there with, I guess with people's parents. I didn't know whose parents they were, parents, aunts, and uncles. So I was sitting there with these family members, and I told them what I'm telling you all, and they were like, we don't believe you, because they had never seen me.
Right.
And they had never heard of me, and these are their kids.
Right.
On stage. And I was like, no, like I'm this guy. They were like, whatever. And so then they said, okay.
You sitting with us, whatever.
Right. So then I think the guy who ended up being one of her songwriters, his dad, he says, so are you going to shoot Prince or not? Because I'd already told him. They said no, and da-da-da. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, are you going to tell if I do? You know what I mean? Like, because they said do. I'm like, I don't want you to snitch. And he's like, no, I just want to see what you're going to do, brother. So Prince came out. I stood up and I was like, and sat back down, jumped up, took some more, and then I left it alone. And so then Janelle's guitarist like shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hey, you're so and so. I remember you from Miami." He said, "You want to come watch the show from the floor?"
Wow. And
I said, "Yeah, I want to do that." So we walked down to the floor to where I guess the mixing console, whatever it is, front of the house engineer.
Yep.
So we're down there. And I'm watching Prince just do his thing, right? And then I turn, and then next thing you know, Janelle's like right there. Now, mind you, I shot her all these times, but I never met her.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never like, oh, hey, you know.
It's
After
buffers.
10 shows?
You're dealing with buffers.
No, yeah, because
Are you kidding me?
I'm basically out in the front. I think the closest I had come was in Paris.
Wow.
In Paris, she had a show for I think it's Lacine Rock or Rock. It's a rock festival they have out there, and she was praying near me, and like I said who I was, and she was like, "Hi." It was very cordial, but it wasn't a hey, you know. It wasn't that whole thing. But this time she was standing beside me, and she's like, "I want to thank you so much, like, for taking my pictures." And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, she's this amazing artist, and then she's beautiful, and that whole bit. And so, you know, and I'm like, Prince is rocking, so I'm up here again, but I'm like, Janelle's right there. And so I turned to say something, and then she was gone, like just like that, like she's vanished. Right? It's dark. So I'm like, what's the deal with this? And I go back looking at Prince, and next thing you know, there's Janelle on stage with Prince, but I don't have my camera because it's still up there by my seat with the parents. I'm not supposed to be shooting anything.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, oh man. So then Prince finishes, and then Kalindo, that's her guitarist, he's like, man, let's go backstage. And I said, I can't get back there. He said, you with me, you can go back there. So I said, let me get my bag. So I got my bag, and then we went backstage. We get backstage, and Janelle's already back there. Dougie Fresh is back there, who I also hadn't personally met, and they're just talking. And she's like, "Oh my God, like your work is so amazing." And I was like, I'm freaking out.
She's talking about your work?
Yeah, talking about my work. And I'm like, yo, like it's cool, but it's not like that. You know?
And trust me, Alvin, it is. He's so humble.
I saw just the aluminum book. I was blown away by that.
Yeah, he's just super humble. Go ahead.
Trust me, she was telling she started telling Dougie Fresh that, and then she started telling this other young lady that Esperanza Spalding walked up, and she's talking. I'm like, oh.
Wow.
I'm like, it's really not a big deal. And then she said, and I'm serious because it's like, I think I'm here, and I don't know what you all are used to, so I don't want, you know. Right. And so she says, let me see your phone. I was like, okay. And she's like, look at it right here. Look at it. Oh, this is great. This is great. So I'm like,
that's your candies.
Yes, I'm tunnel vision. I'm looking at Janelle and Dougie Fresh, like just going through my my feed.
Wow.
And then they stopped talking and they turned to my right and said, hey. And so then I look right, and then up walks Prince.
Wow.
So then, you know, I'm like, oh my God. So then, and I didn't know what to call him. I didn't know his last name. I said, Mr. Prince.
Mr. Prince? Did you say Mr. Prince, really?
Sure.
Did you say Mr. Prince?
I didn't know his name was Nelson. I said, Mr. Prince, can I take your picture? And he's like, so I said, that's cool.
I don't think so.
I said, that's cool. And it's funny because I had a wide angle lens. I was shooting Janelle and Doug talking. I could have very easily just turned my lens.
Right.
Kept looking at them. I never had to turn towards them. I could just open it wider and it would have pulled him in anyway. But I put my camera down out of respect and just didn't take any more pictures. And so basically I thought that was that. Then they said, you want to go to an after party? Prince walked away. Everybody said goodbye. I was like, cool, I want to go to the after party. Who doesn't want to go to an after party?
Right.
And so we went to the after party. We had trouble getting in, even though I'm with the band. Then we eventually got in. And then Janelle and her producers and some songwriters, some other people were over in the VIP area. And so basically we went over to the VIP area, and Prince's band is on stage, but he wasn't on stage. So MPG, New Power Generation, was on stage. Everybody's dancing. And I figured this is my time to shine. Because before photography, I danced. I did talent shows all around.
That's right. That's the other thing he loves to do.
Yeah, so I said, if I got an audience, it's on.
Wait,
what did you do? Did you dance? Wait, but did you dance?
Yeah, because I couldn't shoot. There were no cameras allowed at the after party. It was just like a straight up party.
Raising up the hand. You danced in front of Monet, Dougie Fresh, Prince.
I'm getting to that. No, so Doug was on the mic. Derrel was on the mic. He's hosting, and he had Chill Will and Barry B, his old DJs, who he still works with. He had them DJing.
Okay.
And they just going through Michael Jackson cuts, Prince, cause they playing all the jams. And so Janelle's stage man at the time, George, was dancing with a young lady who I later met. And then, like I said, they were dancing, and so it was set up like Las Vegas, sort of how some of their venues are, where they have these permanent booths which are all facing the stage.
Right.
And they have these little cocktail tables in front of each of these booths, but it's like these curved booths or straight bench style where they can't look behind them because the booth is this high. So you're basically forced to look in this direction. Well, that's perfect for me, because if you can't look anywhere else and people are dancing right here, and we're in this VIP area, which is not very large, and people are dancing, then you got to see me.
Right.
So this lady said she wanted to dance, so I can't shoot anyway.
I got to give you my stuff.
So wait a minute, hold on. Okay, but your logic is I'm going to dance and get their attention, and then I'm going to eventually shoot for Prince. Can you get to how you shot for Prince from dancing?
Yeah, heck yeah.
That's how you got to shoot for Prince.
I tell my students all the time, if you're selling pictures, you're selling the wrong thing. Everybody can shoot.
Right.
So you sold yourself as a dancer.
People want to buy into who you are as a person.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like I can get good pictures over here. I can get great pictures over there. Like, what makes you different? Okay, so I make a book. All right, so somebody else makes a movie. I mean, what, you know what I mean? Like, who cares? Right? You get that anywhere. Mm-hmm. And maybe a lot of people dance. So maybe dancers are looking for some other way to sell themselves, but they weren't expecting that from me.
Right.
Okay, so you're dancing with the lady and whatever.
Because I'm also older than all of them.
Right.
Okay.
Right? At least all of them, right? Janelle and her team. So basically I'm dancing with the lady, and I'm looking around, and one of them looked. One of her producers, one of her friends looked. I said, oh, okay. And then I saw one of them tap her and point. I said, oh, shit, now I'm spinning around, doing the whole thing. And so then George had to leave, right? George had to leave. So, and the lady he was dancing with was younger. Like, I was dancing with this lady who was a little bit older than me. And she was getting tired, right? Because I'm going crazy, right? Right. And so I said, would you mind? I said, because I've been wanting to dance with her too, this evening. She was like, nah, baby, I'm fine, thank you. So, and she was in the VIP, so I'm not sure who she was. She's probably a big wig too. And so she went and sat down. So then I started dancing with this other lady, and she's like easily like 6 feet. She might be 6'1". She's tall. She got this hat on, and I'm turning it up. And the more I dance, the more she's dancing. Wow. So then I'm getting worn out, and we're both going for it. And so what's crazy is, so Janelle's watching, and then she's watching the performance. And then at one point, Esperanza was sitting beside Janelle. It was Janelle, Esperanza, and on the other side of Janelle was Nate, one of her producers. And so next thing you know, Esperanza was gone, and Shelby J, who also sang for Prince. She's a lady out of North Carolina. She was sitting there. So I'm like, okay, I'm watching because I'm trying to see who's looking, and I'm doing my thing. Then I got all into it. We're spinning around. And when I look back again, Shelby is gone, and Prince is sitting with Janelle.
Wow.
Oh, that's I can't. I blacked out after that, because then I just turned it all the way up.
Oh wow.
I'm just going for it. Like, Prince is watching me. I mean, because I also giving him the show. Because I can't remember what year it was, but when James Brown was being honored for the Kennedy Center, they had a James Brown dance contest in DC, and James Brown saw me dance. And I won first place in that contest. So like I mean, the only person who hadn't seen me dance was Michael Jackson, who actually I'm like a huge fan of his too. So having Prince see me do that, I never had to take his picture. Like I was fine with that. Right. Because he was sitting there watching, because you can't look anywhere else. And I'm clowning. Right? I'm doing the whole bit. So then Prince leans over, because like I said, it's like a booth. We danced right in front of the coffee table, like basically right in front of his table. So he leans over and he says, man, I thought you were the guy that takes the pictures. And I said, I do, but I did this first. So then he handed me his scepter and told me have a seat. So he used to have this like walking cane, like this. Oh, okay. Diamond crystal. scepter. And he's like, man, have a seat. And so I'm sitting there, and it's Shelby and me, and then Janelle's on this side, and Shelby's like, are you all right? And I said, no. And I'm sitting there holding the scepter, and then Prince is like, he's doing
Oh, he's dancing.
Yeah, because he was like, I guess it's his party, and I'm showing off, and I'm in his VIP section.
He got to show you. He got to break it back down.
So he said, you sit down, so he can show.
Yeah, he said, you sit down, and he just put this in my hands, like, yeah, sit right there. And so he starts doing this thing. I'm like trying not to laugh, like, dude, like, maybe once upon a time, you know what I mean? Not today, because I'm excited, and this is like every day for you. So nah, but I got the message. He was like, yeah, stop dancing. Stop showing off at my party.
Right.
So I was like, cool. So then he asked Janelle to come backstage. So I'm like, I'm following, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Janelle's like, Derrel, I think this is good night. So I was like, nah, thanks for the opportunity. Like, nobody's ever gonna believe this whole thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then we took a picture. So that was like the first like real dialogue.
I love it.
That we had. And I thought that was like the end of it. Come to find out, when I got back to my room, the lady I was dancing with, the reason why she could dance so well, because she danced with Prince. I didn't recognize her from being one of the ladies on stage.
Wow.
Okay.
And then she also happened to be a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, like a crazy night, right? I'm dancing with and actually was voted like one of the top 50 Sports Illustrated swimsuit models of that whole series. I'm like, yo,
okay, Derrel, this is like getting to be a cliffhanger. How did you end up shooting for Prince?
Okay, my bad. So that was December 29th, which of course went over to the 30th. And then I think about 8 days later, I got a phone call that said Prince would like to work with you.
From who? Who called?
One of his managers.
That was at the party?
I don't know where they came from. But I thought somebody was playing on my phone. I was
going to say, I thought you
right.
I said, I was at the government job. I was like, this is not funny. Like, I'm playing on my phone.
Right.
And so they were like, we're not playing. I was like, yeah, okay, man. I said, well, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm interested. I'm not really sure what's going on. So that was that. Then I had to go to the bathroom. It's normal stuff. I had to go to the bathroom, and then my phone rang again. I'm like, I'm in the bathroom. I couldn't answer it. So I was like, man, these people will not let up. So then I got back, went downstairs, went outside the building, called back. No, this is actually Prince's manager. He would like to work with you. He has a job coming up in Turks and Caicos, and they want you to shoot it.
Whoa.
I said, I tell you what. I said, if this is real, then if you can send me an email, highlighting what we discussed, then I'll believe it. So I think first it came from like a Yahoo account. So I was like,
what's cracking me up is you're like going, I don't believe you.
But he said everybody says that.
Wow.
Everybody? Okay.
He said everybody says that. I'm like, because you don't get, that's not a call, it's not a normal
call.
call.
The manager said that's common.
Yeah, the manager said everybody says that.
Okay.
Stop playing like somebody, you know what I mean? Like if Barack Obama called you, you're not gonna think somebody's playing on your phone.
Yeah.
I'm an eternal optimist, so I probably would believe it because I'm like, one day that's gonna happen.
Even at this level, if somebody said I'm calling on behalf of President Obama, I'm like, yeah, man, what?
Really?
So I got an email, and then I saw the date because he wanted it was happening in 2 weeks. That's when the shoot was happening. He was like, in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. I got the email. I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I thought about it, and I was like, oh, I can't do it because I had a destination wedding that I was supposed to be shooting in Montego Bay.
Oh.
The same weekend.
I'm raising my hand again.
Close but no cigar.
What?
Yeah, so I had a destination wedding, and I was like,
Prince
I'm gonna get out of it.
Prince destination.
So I said, I'm getting out of this. I said, I'm either getting out of this. Or I'm
out of what? The wedding?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to shoot that.
Right.
Chance of a lifetime. I've done more than my share of weddings. I'm like, I'm good. with the wedding. I said, or I can work it out so that I can do the wedding and then fly from Montego to Turks. I mean, they islands, how far can they be away from each other? That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So anyway, I called the young lady, Martinique, never forgetting her husband, Andre. I called her and told her what the deal was, and she was like, I don't care. You're covering my wedding.
Okay.
She said, Derrel, I did not pay for anybody else to shoot my wedding. I paid for you to shoot my wedding.
Oh, wow.
I was like, Martinique, come on. I got people. Damon can do it. You've met Damon. Like she said, I have, but I paid for you to come.
Wow.
I said, you seriously not going to let me out of this? She was like, no. She said, I tell you what we can't do. We can pray about it.
On today.
So what was I going to...
Just put it on the Lord's shoulders, right?
Yeah, what was I going to say? And so she did. I mean, right there on the phone, we prayed. And then I got off
right
the phone.
then.
Yeah, right then. I got off the phone mad. Right after I said amen, I was still pissed. And then I had to call his manager back and tell him that I couldn't do it. No. And then his manager said, no problem, we understand. He said, maybe there's something you all can do together in the future. I'm thinking he's lying.
Right.
Right, they're going to call somebody else. Like, this call is never going to happen again.
Right.
But I had to honor the contract that I signed.
Right.
So I get on the plane, mad. I get to the resort, mad. I'm shooting the other guests because I normally fly in with family. So I'm shooting her family members as they came in. They started greeting their family members as they checked in. Each of the guests and stuff are checking in. It was my turn to be checked in. I'm like, no. Somebody else go ahead of me. So I can keep shooting. But I'm also, because I'm mad, I'm not even interested in starting this whole experience.
Yeah.
And so then by the time they got to me, they were, okay, sir, it's your turn. All right, so we got you all checked in. Your room is actually already ready for you. Somebody's going to come and take your bags. The way it works here, your keys here, and you're going to be on the first floor. You don't have a ocean view, whatever. You got a garden view, whatever. He said you're going to be in building 3. The way it works is the first number to your room is actually the building number, and the last several numbers are your actual room number here. So you're going to be in building 3, room 121. And then I get upset like immediately all over again, because at that time, the last album that Prince had done was titled 3121.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
That was, at that time, that was the last album. I was like, this is not happening to me. I'm being mocked by the universe. And so I said, nobody's believing this. I said, this is crazy. And so went to my room, went out to the pool, and the young lady's bragging that her friends have, to her friends, that her photographer is supposed to shoot for Prince, but he's doing her wedding.
That's interesting.
And I'm irritated because I'm like, I would rather be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't want to shoot any of this. Yeah, stand over there, click, stand over there, whatever, click.
Right.
You know, I'm just got an attitude about it. And then my phone rings. And now I'm irritated about that, because I'm thinking, if you were getting married, you wouldn't want anybody
That didn't want to be there.
You wouldn't want your photographer answering phone calls. Like, right. Just stay on task. And I'm like, yo, like, I normally leave a message on my page, my email. I'm out of the country, whatever, right? So I answer the phone with an attitude. I'm like, yes, can I help you? And the guy was like, yeah, we've been trying to reach you. But I said, well, I was in the air for the last 5 hours. I'm sorry. How can I help you? And the guy was like, oh, this is so-and-so. I was like, oh. I said, oh, I'm sorry. He was like, yeah, we were trying to reach you. Prince wants to know, are you still interested in the job? And I was like, yeah. I said, but I'm shooting this wedding, so I can't do it, because they were basically the same weekend.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I said, yeah, I can't do it because I'm doing this. He said, well, you said you'll be free on Monday. I said, yeah, I fly back on Monday, so I'm done with this on Monday. He said he would wait for you to finish.
Wow.
Come on, Favor.
So that's how
that woman's prayers work.
So that's how I got to end up doing the job for Prince. So
wow. So you know what the shows when it's for you, it's for you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So
it wasn't a performance that he was doing?
No, he wanted portraits to go with the album he was releasing.
I love it.
At that point,
the job that I did.
At that point, had he seen your work?
I guess he did some background. I guess they did some background
Maybe you got it from
sure.
Janelle or something.
Which
Wow.
he got my information from Janelle, but I don't know if they looked. I guess they looked at my page. I don't know.
Sure.
I honestly don't know, and I never asked.
I bet.
I never asked. But what he also wanted was he needed some pictures for the cover, I believe, of Essence magazine.
Okay.
And so I don't know if I can't remember at this point if he flew in somebody else. I think he flew in Nandi McLean, who used to be one of his dancers, or if she was already there. So when that article came out and that cover came out, that was the one that was shot in Turks. So not me. So I was like super excited because I'm like, oh, I'm going to Turks. But then when we finished ironing out all the details and all the money, which is another whole story in and of itself, but a crazy one, I didn't go to Turks. I thought I was going to Turks. But on Tuesday, I had to fly to Minneapolis.
So you went back to his place.
Yeah, so he wanted me to shoot him at Paisley.
Wow.
Yeah. Ordinarily, I'm guessing I would have shot him in Turks. Right. And then I would have flown with them home to do the other job. But because I was unavailable. So
somebody else did Turks and Caicos, and you came back and did the
Exactly. So then I ended up being out in Paisley for like 2.5 weeks.
You were at Paisley for 2.5 weeks?
Wow.
I was out there so long I had to buy new underwear. New underwear. I bought some shirts.
Wow. That's crazy. That's an amazing story. That's an amazing story. And I wish we could talk forever because those stories to me are so inspiring because it just goes back to your spirit of I'm not going to give up. And you never know, and I keep telling people this, you never know if you keep your mind open and your spirit open where you'll end up. But you have to keep, the world should be a yes. Just yes, and then how am I getting to my yes? How am I getting to where I know I can be and what I can do? And you were always willing to make that a possibility. And I applaud you. I knew some of the story, but I didn't know this grand detail. And I applaud you a lot.
Oh, it's even more. I mean, I also went to Paisley unannounced too.
Wow.
Because he said he was going to come and get us, and nobody ever sent a car.
Oh wow!
On the first night, so I got an Uber and we just went.
And Uber to Paisley.
And the gate was open. Huh? Yeah, the gate. The gate was open. Like we went in, and believe it or not, I mean it's not that way now, but the door was unlocked.
Stop.
Yeah, only the galley or the kitchen area. That door to the exterior was locked, but one of the main doors, which is on the side, not the very front door, but the side door was like unlocked.
So you just kept walking through doors
until he was sitting there eating dinner.
All right.
Yeah, he had just sat down to eat dinner, and I heard the game was on.
So you could have been a photographer or an assassin. Either way, you'd been successful.
Exactly, and that's to me when you hear about like how artists are hurt or these things happen. Like people don't realize how vulnerable many of their favorite artists really are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I could have been anybody.
Anybody at any time.
Anybody. And I'm telling you,
yes.
All right, so you come in this main door. I guess they're glass doors. I came in this door, and because of, I guess the vacuum, and like I said, it was like it's winter in Minneapolis, so it was like minus 15, between minus 15 and minus 18 in Chanhassen at the time. Because of the vacuum, he had these heavy purple drapes or curtains, whatever, that hung, I guess, to sort of knock down the cold from when you come into the space.
Right.
So when I opened the door, it creates a vacuum, so the drapes like. They flooded, like really freaky stuff, right?
Right.
And then, so I just started walking through doors. I'm literally like, open the door, keep going down the hallway, open the door, keep going, like none of that stuff was locked.
Wow.
Very first time, or this you had been there
first
before?
Time. No, this is the first time.
Wow.
Because basically they said we're going to have basically what happened was they put us at the hotel, they said we're having a meeting at 8, and then 6 comes, like we took a nap, because we got there first thing in the morning. 6 comes, nobody calls. 6:30 comes, nobody calls. 7, I'm like, yo, I'm not about to be late for no meeting with friends.
Right.
And so Tony, who I took with me, I didn't take Damon with that one, I took Tony with me. Tony's like, dude, they flew us out here. They know we're here. Calm down. Like, there's no reason for you to be panicking. They know we at the hotel. How can you be late for a meeting that they flew you out here for?
Right.
I said, dude, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. So I called Uber, got a black car because we want to look important. Got a black car, went to Paisley, but like I said, it's well below freezing outside. So I said, tell you what, Tony, stay in the car because we black, and trust me, I don't know if we can get an Uber out of here.
Right.
And we can't. I don't know how long we can stay outside before we freeze to death.
Right. Right.
At these temperatures. So I said, as long as you in the car, they can't pull off.
Right.
So that's how I ended up going in.
Wow.
And I'm telling like nothing was locked. So I'm walking in. I saw the motorcycle that was in Purple Rain. It was like sitting there, like right beside like a receptionist sort of area.
Wow.
I keep on down the hallway. I saw a few like plaques. It wasn't gold albums or anything. Can't remember what they were, but they were like plaques. But then when I did get to like this other hallway, there's an MTV award, there's an American Music Award. They're inside the wall in like these art niches inside the wall. As I walk down the hall, I'm like, yo, like what's going on?
It's getting real.
And then I open this other door, and I'm constantly looking to see like what's in this room. I'm trying to find somebody. Nobody's there. Like literally nobody's there. And so then I looked this way, and then that's when he was like this. He's like, "Can I help you?"
Wow.
And I was like, I'm Derrel. I'm the guy from DC. I'm here for the meeting. He's like, wait right there. Right there. And then he like vanishes. And then next thing you know, his manager comes out of nowhere. He's like, why are you here? Why are you here? And I'm like, well, you said we had a meeting at 8 o'clock. He's like, I said I was in the car. Like, you shouldn't be here. You've interrupted dinner. And I said, man, I just didn't want to be late. I don't, I said, I apologize. Like, I said, I can leave. He's like, no, you're here now. I said, well, there's another guy in the car.
Why you at it?
I said, can I go get the guy in the car? He was like, yeah, go get him and then come right back here.
Whoa.
Wow.
So I went and got Tony, and then he's like, dude, we in trouble because of you. It's your fault. We in trouble. They're gonna send us
first meeting.
They're gonna send us home. And so the guy came and got us. They took us into this larger room, which is now I believe called the MPG Music Club or something. It was where he would have after parties after his concerts that he held in Paisley. So we were sitting in there, and they were sitting at like an Alice in Wonderland table. All the backs of the chairs are like 7 feet high. And this chair is green. This one's purple. This one's yellow. I'm like, yeah. And yeah, it's crazy because you got to think everything in there is custom made.
Right. Right.
In this entire facility.
Right.
And we're talking this huge.
He ordered a 7-foot yellow chair.
Yeah. But who made it? You know what I mean? Like, I get that his mind went there, but who helped him, realize that vision? So it's crazy. So.
But I mean, the stories are amazing that you're telling, and we could go on forever. And I just really want to take a minute just to thank you for sharing, because I hope when people see this, they understand that someone who's just started where you did, from selling their stuff for $1 in the middle of DC, can go as far as they can go, and you're not done. You're still shooting for Monae, right? You're still doing other things. So
still working.
Yeah, but the possibilities are endless when you believe. I really love your story. I appreciate you so much for coming today.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, thank you, brother.
An honor to be here. It's not like I'm people knocking down the door to interview me. But so we can say my whole interview career started right here.
This is just the beginning, and I'm glad to be a part of it because I'm always getting on you about, you're so humble. You shouldn't be shooting any weddings anymore. I'll tell you this one story, Alvin. He shoots weddings for people, phenomenal prices, and I'm when you start shooting at that level, I'm like, I would just be like, that's the last wedding last week is when I'm ever going to shoot again in life, because now I work for Monae and Prince.
No, I get it. So you
but
have
he
to
loves
on
being
different
around
hats.
people.
Sometimes you're hats, sometimes you're just working.
Yeah,
exactly.
you do. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate this time together, and once again, thank you all for being here today on another episode of Making It.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you too, sir. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Big time.
Very cool.